my future self. Today is May 15th, 2020 at 12:23 p.m. and at about 1 p.m. I was supposed to be walking the stage, or at least be showing up for graduation. It did not happen. So today instead I'm going to get ready and do my makeup as I had planned to do it for when I graduated. Reflect on my time at college. So I'm not going to do my hair the way I planned because I planned to have had it straightened. So instead I'm just going to do it while it's curly. It's currently drying because I just got out the shower. I went to college from 2015 to 2020. Took me 5 years to graduate. I did change my major in there, but I ended up graduating with a degree in economics, bachelor's of arts. Most colleges it's a bachelor's of science, but in California, economics is not considered part of the business college, even though it has the same business program and undergraduate classes that you need in order to become a graduate. So it's a BA, and it's part of the College of Arts and Letters. Major that I had came to school in was accounting, but while I was accounting major, one of the schools was very overcrowded, so it was very hard to get my classes, and a lot of people were having trouble graduating on time because of how overcrowded it was. Also, something that everyone always talked about is once you become an accountant, you get your CPA and then your CPA. And I wanted something with a little bit more variety than that. I didn't want to pick my major and then that was it. Like for the rest of my life, that was all going to be a CPA. Of course, there's other things accountants can do, but they're different types of accountants. Then from accounting, I went to international economics. But it was kind of too late because in order to be an international economics major, I would have to have study abroad, and I just did not plan for that. In order for me to graduate with that degree of study abroad and then have to push my graduation back, and I was already thinking about not just taking a break from school, so I didn't need to push myself back any further, as well as I've already traveled. Where else was it going to take me? Something else about my experience and just a little bit about growing up was like my experience for one, living on my own. My first year I lived in the dorms, and then the next year I lived in a really nice apartment complex, but I had 5 other roommates. I had a room and a bathroom all to myself, but I had 5 other roommates to share the living room and the kitchen with, so I hardly ever used it. I found this place. I found it on Craigslist. A lady that used to do my hair, used to do my sew-ins, she said that she found all of her good deals on Craigslist and that if I wanted to find a good cheap apartment to look here. So I did, and I almost got scammed, and then I learned what to look out for, and then I found this place, which is a studio, really nice, and now I'm here. And this is a nice place. I love the neighborhood. I'm in walking distance to my favorite Chinese place, right in between all the major freeways, so I can easily get to anywhere in San Diego in 5 or 10 minutes, depending on traffic. That's even with traffic. Oh, my favorite classes. My favorite classes at SDSU was quite a few. Starting my freshman year, the springtime, didn't like any during the fall. I took World of Animals Lab. It was my science requirement had either be biology or physics, and I'm glad I took that class because the lab that was required for that class ended up being my favorite class probably my entire time while going to SDSU. Every single lab, which was every Thursday, it was about 2.5 hours long. We got to touch animals and dissect animals and learn about animals. Every single day we also had a quiz. They also paid for us to go to the San Diego Aquarium, the Birch Aquarium, which I think is technically a part of UC San Diego. And then they also paid for us to go to the San Diego Zoo, which I believe is the largest in the US, maybe one of the largest in the world, I'm not sure. It was a pretty good class. I remember the final, he used the exact same test as our previous exam. So I think I got an A. I showed up 30 minutes late because No, I showed up like an hour late because class was from 8 to 9 and the final was from 7 to 9. And I didn't realize. So I showed up at 8, halfway through the final, and I finished it in like 15 or 20 minutes because he used the same exact questions as the previous exam. I didn't know what that was about, but I wasn't complaining, and it was my favorite class of the entire SDSU. The classes that I took this semester, I really liked 2 of them. I really liked my public finance class because we just talked about relevant news. We didn't talk about anything from a textbook. In fact, he did not teach from a textbook. So everything that we talked about was current economics, which was also true for all of my economics classes for this semester. But he also didn't teach from the New York Times. He taught about, okay, what's going on right now? We're talking about, the elections. So he said, he would just come to class and write numbers up on the board, and there'd be 70 something, 70 something, and then 38. And he's like, what do these numbers represent? And I'm one of the most talkative in class. I'm always raising my hand, I'm always asking questions. And so I made quite a few guesses. I said, is that what women get paid on the dollar? Or, is that the average lifespan? And he was like, those are good guesses. The average lifespan 78, and then depending on what sources you look at, they have different rates for what women make in the dollar compared to men. But he was like, no, that's the ages of the people currently running for president. That was Biden, Bernie, the 38-year-old was Buttigieg, and I believe the other one was Warren. And so then we just talked about that. And it's not something that's in the news. It's just something that was relevant to our news. That's why I liked it. Something different, something to look at from a different angle than from what you've been hearing. Alright, so, some people that I met in college. There was no one that really stood out to me that changed my college experience, sadly. And there's no one here that I could say, oh, I made a college best friend for life. I do have college friends that I'm still friends with now, and I do have people that I met while going to college that I'm still friends with now, but do I see that I'll be friends with them in 10 years from now? No. Not because of anything wrong with either one of us. Just we weren't that close. Nice acquaintances. I stayed busy in college, so I didn't really go to that many parties or events. If I were to look back on my college and say what was my greatest accomplishment, I would say it would be volunteering. Through volunteering, I would not have been where I am now. Volunteering there, I saw a volunteer pamphlet to volunteer for the IRS. And at that time, I was still trying to be an accounting major. I'm still trying to become a CPA. I was able to leave my job working as a cashier at Home Depot, and I got the job at the ISC, which is a office work job, which a lot of resumes that I was looking at for what you need in order to have an associate's degree, because at this time it was my second year of school. I was looking at the future. I was like, okay, next year if I want a better job, what do I need? They said that you need this many years of clerical experience, and this job that I had now from volunteering is giving me that clerical experience. Office experience. Alright, do I have any regrets? So far, the only regret that I have, and that I've had for several years, was not going to a community college first. In high school, we always talked bad about community colleges, and we always talked or looked down on people who said they were going to go to community college. And it's always like you have to go to the best school, and you have to go to this school, and it has to be a university, it can't be a community college. And then, all your parents and your teachers are telling you, you have to go to a university, you can't go to community college. And then you go to university, and everyone's like, yeah, just take it at community college. You don't have to take it at SDSU. Yeah, community college is easier. Community college is like the professors work with you more. No, community college is this, they do that. And then you go there, and you're like, wow, this is great. And when I was going to community college, I took extra classes I didn't need to take, but that they didn't offer at SDSU. Like, there was a class specifically on, applying to jobs and networking to jobs. And there was a class specifically on how to do office things, such as writing emails and writing memos and all that stuff that they didn't offer at SDSU. My roots are brown. My hair's black. But yeah, I thought I wanted to be an accountant. I've been thinking that since the 10th grade. And then what was it, the 13th grade? No, the 15th grade. Yeah, but I ended up becoming economics. And I'm not gonna be an economist. Well, that's what I ended up. I'll be an analyst. I don't know what type of analyst yet. So I think the thing that I liked the most about college was how I slowly got to gain responsibilities. I didn't just move out and then everything was thrown onto me. I think the first responsibility that I got was doctor's appointments, actually. So I had, you know, for instance, I'd always been told that I had eczema on my chest. Turns out, no, it's a rash that I'll have most likely for the rest of my life. I need to take constant medication for. When I do smell things, I have an allergic reaction. It's a very fine line between smelling it and then going into an allergic reaction where I stop breathing. And I thought it was always normal that I couldn't breathe. And I thought that other people couldn't breathe as well, they were just better at hiding it. But yeah, whenever we went to a barbecue and the smoke and all that got into my lungs, not in my lungs, it's not my lungs that it's an issue, it's my nose. Another way I learned responsibility is through buying my own car. I saved up for it, paid for all the expenses for it, I paid for the insurance, did everything for it. The only thing my dad did was he co-signed to lower my interest rate. Everything else was completely on my own. I found the car, I researched the car, I paid for the car, I paid for the maintenance on the car, the expenses of the car, all of that. Even when, like for instance, the car in front of me ran over a tire and the tire flew back. And I was going like 70 miles an hour. If I didn't brake at the last minute, which then required me to buy new brakes, the tire would have hit my windshield. But instead, no, it just ripped out the entire, passenger side of my car's lights, headlights, low lights, some of the like actual rim broke off the gas fuel tank, so, a couple things. And it was, I have a cheap car, so it has cheap maintenance, and it all came to just below like $1,000, and my deductible was $1,000, so I had to pay all that. And then like a month later I go back in and there's like some residual things that I needed to fix with that, which would have been over $8,000, but not enough for like the insurance to pay for it and then get a salvage claim, a salvage title. I had to learn to save on my own, which I mean I was saving while I was with my parents, but now I was making, you know, money from a job. Roughly, I think I was making roughly $1,200 a month when I was working at Home Depot. And then when I left to go work at the ISC, I started making probably like $900 a month. So I left for a lower paying job, but for the experience. And then I started making around $1,600 a month when I left to work at H&R Block. And there's some other jobs in between there as well, but those were the main ones. Like I worked at TJ Maxx, so I don't remember how much I got paid. But I did get paid in cash. That was the odd thing. They paid me every single week and they paid me in cash. Okay, so then if I had to say like my 5-year goal, it would be to first, you know, move to SAC and then live there for 2 to 3 years. Nice apartment, save up some money, and you know, and then right now I'm planning to get a state job because I know how to apply for state jobs. So I guess now looking forward, my current worries, you know, I'm graduating into recession, graduating into a pandemic. What am I gonna do for work? You know, my whole point of going to school was to get a job. I don't have one yet. And even if I did already have one for when I graduate, that would have been gone because I know a lot of people who they lost their job offers because of this pandemic. Will I have a job? Will that job pay me good? My goal, one of my other goals was that when I graduated, I got a job that paid at least $55,000 worth in Sacramento because I want to get a job in Northern California in Sacramento. So will I get my final goal of graduating college and getting that job like right after college where I make my $55,000 a year goal right after college. I will then transfer from my state job to my federal job either while in Sacramento, or my next goal is to move somewhere near like the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas. I'm thinking Plano, Texas. I like the size of the city. And then once I move to Plano, live there for about a year, and then buy a house. So be a homeowner within 5 years. That's my goal. And then my last topic I want to talk about is my plans for today. Today that I'm supposed to be graduating, and I'm supposed to have had breakfast at this place. Oh, I can't remember the name, but it's by the DMV here in San Diego, and they cook food weird shape. Like, for instance, their French toast is like this long, and it's a log. It's a log, and then their pigs in a blanket is also like a foot long. But it tastes good, and it's just like nice and whimsical and just like a treat because it's different. My favorite Chinese restaurant that I was also planning on going to like another time to celebrate graduation is closed, and I think they're closed for good. Alright, so I finished with my my mascara off screen. This is not how I would have done my hair. I would have straightened it and curled it, put some waves through it, but I just didn't feel like doing all that. My school still ended up having a virtual graduation, but that's not what I wanted in my graduation. I wanted to walk the stage. Like, even throwing the tassel up in the air, like, I didn't even really care about that. I just wanted to walk across the stage and then get that picture. So anybody can just throw a hat up in the air. I wanted that picture of me walking across the stage. Alright, this hair could just stay on the side. This is how I would have done my makeup if today I had graduated. Today, this would have been my makeup. Maybe a little bit better done because I would have practiced for a few days.